what do you think of Zohran Mamdani? And what do you think of Jay Jones winning in Virginia, notwithstanding what he said?
Well, that just kind of tells you, Jay Jones, a big Israel guy, by the way, which maybe is why he's not the subject of Nazi Week. But, I mean, of course, right? This is a guy, the new Attorney General of Virginia, the chief law enforcement officer in the Commonwealth of Virginia, who fantasized, and then not only fantasized, defended the fantasies of murdering someone else's kids with a gun because the parents of those kids disagreed with him. This is the collective punishment that I'm talking about. This is the brain virus that's taking over our country, that whole groups are guilty. This is the root of, again, of anti-Semitism, of the anti-white stuff, of the tribalism that will destroy this society and every other society that falls prey to it. And he, as the chief law enforcement officer, whose core duty is to administer the law impartially, fairly, evenly to every American citizen, has already admitted that he's basically a Hutu. And no one seems to care, okay? So that's like the scariest thing I can imagine. Honestly, that's the scariest thing. As for Mamdani, I mean, you know, there are a lot of things to say. I won't go on about it, but I just found it, speaking of Israel taking over the conversation, this is a guy who said in public and then defended his statement that we're going to tax whites more because they're white.
Yeah.
And nobody cared. They're like, oh, but he doesn't have the right views on Israel. What? Again, be quiet about Israel. I don't care. I don't have to care. I'm not bad for not caring. So shh. What I care about is my country.
I don't think he has the right views on Israel.
I don't think he does have the right views on Israel. But I don't care about his views on Israel because we're not in Israel. We're in the United States. And he said, I'm going to tax white people more because they're white. And like nobody cared. And it's like, what the hell? Bottom line, without getting all worked up, I will say, it's our biggest city. It's 8 million people. Cities are incredibly complex organisms, take centuries to build. My ancestors helped build New York, by the way, but can be destroyed very, very quickly. Look at Johannesburg, 30 years, and it's a husk. It's a joke, and it was a beautiful city. Look at Gary, Indiana, Detroit. Look at almost all of our cities, Baltimore. And that could happen to New York City very soon. In fact, it will. I have a child who lives there. Called me today. I was like, I'm leaving. Not an ideological person. It's just like we know where this is going because it's happened in dozens and dozens. In fact, it's happened to almost every single big city we have. And now it's happening to our biggest city, and it's just the greatest tragedy. And I feel like it doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to happen. It's just like your house. If you allow, as the father, as the patriarch in your family, chaos to break out, and you don't settle it down and set limits and say, I mean, I would say my family, you know, I'm all about no. That's my job. I don't like saying no, but that's my duty. Someone has to be like, no, we're not doing that. We're not, you know, pissing in the street. We're not having sex in an ATM vestibule. We're not pushing people in front of subway cars. We're not smoking drugs in the park. Like, how about no? And because no one is willing to say that, it just inexorably falls apart. And I think it's the saddest thing I've ever seen.
How do you think, what letter grade would you give Donald Trump so far?
Well, as always, I just give him like huge style points. He's just hilarious. He's just unbelievable. He's just, and he never gets credit for it, you know. People always say Trump is always seeking credit for everything, but in my view, as a middle-aged man, every middle-aged man wants to be thought of as funny. And the core unmet desire in the heart of every long-married man is to have his wife laugh at his jokes. And of course, it doesn't happen. It can't happen. It's some rule of nature. It's like Sisyphus. The rock never gets to the top for some reason, but you keep pushing it. And I feel like Trump is a victim of that very, very sad, very rarely recognized syndrome, the unrecognized comedian syndrome. I think he's freaking hilarious. I just do.
He's amazing.
Yeah. I think sealing the borders is a wonderful achievement.
Yep. Yes.
I think, you know, you could argue both ways on sending troops to cities and how it was done and will it work or whatever, but just saying out loud that crime and disorder are the most basic enemies of civilization is so important. It's like, you can say you're civilized, but if your wife is getting mugged, if your kids are afraid to go to school, you're not civilized. You're living like animals. Even animals don't live like that. So just to have him say that is hugely reassuring to me and hugely important. Telling the truth is often more important than really doing anything. And then I would say tariffs kind of open question. I'm certainly rooting for them. But the foreign policy stuff, it's like every president struggles with this. You just get swarmed, and it seems so important and imminent. And we have to do this. And like, actually, I have found in life, a lot of the time it's like, don't just do something, sit there. Like, actually don't take action is often the wisest response to what appears to be a crisis. Just calm down.
What'd you think about threatening boots on the ground in Nigeria?
I mean, it's like deranged, you know? No. Have you been to Nigeria? I have.
No.
Yeah, no.
I mean, they're slaughtering Christians.
Yeah, they are. Christians are being killed in a lot of different places, and I hate it. But boots on the ground may not be the right way to do it. I just, I'm 56, so I was, 32 or something when 9/11 happened, and I spent the next 10 years like traveling to all the places and seeing all the stuff, and I can just tell you what you already know, which is our response just was totally counterproductive. In a very deep sense, counterproductive and really bad for America. I'm sad about that. I supported it. I'm not blaming anyone, but that's just true. So we haven't figured out how to make things better by inserting troops. You can certainly overthrow people. You can, you can force Hitler to kill himself. You can make the, emperor resign or whatever. You can do those things. You can do the kind of obvious things, but the fine motor skills are really tough. Like, how do you change attitudes, end tribalism? I mean, I think in the specific case of Nigeria, I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in Nigeria yesterday, who said, it's anti-Christian. Of course, Christians get martyred all the time, including in Azerbaijan. But in this case, it's primarily tribal. Different tribes have, but whatever. It's complex. I don't know.
Doesn't seem like a good morass to start. Speaking of which, Dick Cheney died.
I knew him well.
How do you think he'll be remembered?
Probably. I mean, I'm just really I have great respect for death. I've seen a lot of it, and I'm opposed to it. I will just say that. And, but I have reverence for it, and I just don't. If you're not like back on your heels a little bit in the face of death, and just acknowledging that there are mysteries no human mind can comprehend, and sort of humble in the face of it, then you're not really in touch with your best parts. You're not fully human. So I just don't criticize people when they die. Mm-hmm. And I will say one charitable thing, which is he was an amazing fly caster. Amazing. He could drop a dry fly in the top of a beer bottle at like 40 feet, which if you're a dry fly fisherman, and I am, is like ridiculous. Standing in a boat. So, and I've been hunting with him. Good shot when he wasn't drinking. He did shoot Harry Whittington in the face. But like if that had been a quail and not a lawyer from Austin, I think the quail would have been dead. Harry took quite a few pellets from the 28 that day. Tough man. By the way, lived another 20 years. But he raised a really repulsive daughter, which I think is bad. And just on the downside, I've got a bunch of daughters. They're just fine people, and I'm more proud of them than of anything in my life. And if I had a daughter, like Liz Cheney, I don't believe in suicide, but I would consider it.
Oh, wow. Okay. While we're on the subject of Republicans, we talked to Trump, we talked Cheney.
No, in the way that a father feels responsible for having like a warmonger daughter.
Yeah.
Like your daughter worships violence? Like what?
No,
How many daughters worship violence? Not a lot. So if yours is, it's on you.